Ethiopia has been under pressure domestically and on the international stage. There have been anti-government protests since 2015 that continue to pose a serious challenge to the ruling party. The decision to release all political prisoners will be welcomed by many Ethiopians, but some warn it may not lead to major changes in policy.
The government of Haile Mariam Desalegn, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, realizes that Ethiopia cannot continue to be a closed-door political country and that it has to start a political dialogue in order to avoid really being sidelined by the international community. People need to be really calm at any level of the society.
The protests of the past few years have called for political and economic change in Ethiopia. The Oromia and Amhara regions have led a vocal opposition to the government, accusing the ruling party of marginalizing them. Activists and journalists have been arrested in what is described as the most serious challenge since the government came to power in 1991. And hundreds of civilians have been killed during the recent crackdown. Human rights groups have accused the security forces of using excessive and lethal force. During Wednesday's news conference, the government announced it's closing the notorious Makalawi prison and turning it into a museum. The facility has been singled out by rights groups in the past for suspected rights violations, including torture. And critics maintain the government needs to address the underlying grievances of the protesters, such as economic, social and ethnic rights. It's not clear what kind of impact the release of political prisoners will have on the growing opposition movement. Stefanie, Dekker, Al Jazeera.